Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Keith Hampton, and I am a very satisfied or pleased customer of a wonderful website called BitcoinTAF.com or Bitcoin Trend and Forecast. If you're interested in the cryptocurrency space, this is probably the best place you can go for the training and education. Bitcoin Trend and Forecast has the unique ability, or I should say, the founder of the BitcoinTAF.com has the ability to use unique algorithms to be able to forecast and predict the future of cryptocurrencies, specifically Bitcoin, and now into the altcoins. So this is something for you. I'd highly recommend that you go to our website, which I'll just share our screen. And this is BitcoinTAF.com, the main page. And I would invite you to scroll through it, take a look at what's there to offer. And more importantly, what I would do is I would also sign up for free. That way you can get some inside information and get a lot more detail as to what these folks have to offer, because there is just a large group of things that you are interested in. So there's numerous products that you can subscribe to. And so maybe I'll start off with, if you're interested in specifically what's going to happen in Bitcoin, then if you are only focused on Bitcoin, then I'd highly recommend this long-term trade reports by Marius Landman. You get weekly PDFs as well as weekly Zoom calls discussing exactly what is happening in the market and where we're at and where we're going and why. And that's so, so important, because if you notice on this screen here, this is Bitcoin with 7-day candles. And you'll notice that since back here in 2023, we've had quite a rocky ride, but it's been rocking up. And the big thing that everybody needs to know, and by the way, this was all predicted by Marius. These upwards and downwards movements was predicted by Marius over 2 years ago. That's what's so incredible. And because of that, we could take advantage of those opportunities. So now we got to ask our question, where are we going? There are some people that think that we've topped out and we're going to go, sideways. Others are saying, no, we've topped out and we're heading down. And there's others saying, not at all, we're going to continue going up. The million-dollar question is, which one is correct and which one is accurate? That's what Marius Landman's long-term reports are all about with Bitcoin. You'll know exactly where we are, exactly where we're going in different time frames, from 3 months to 6 months, 3 years, and you have a much better idea as to what's playing out in the Bitcoin market. However, if you're interested in the altcoins, I would highly recommend the course called the Elliott Wave Chart Patterns. Elliott Wave Chart Patterns really focus on the altcoins and where they are and where they're at. And folks, I got to tell you, there's incredible opportunities here in these major altcoins. We're going to see some spectacular growth coming into the next season. And the key is to know when to get laddered in and when to get out. So that's something that I would highly recommend for people that want an overview on Bitcoin, but specifically want more information on the altcoins. And then, of course, they also have other reports too. For example, Nico puts out these medium-term trade reports, and they are phenomenal. And I want to give you an example of just how successful they are. For example, he put out this trade alert back in, say, October the 23rd. And he was saying that we're looking for a weekly bottom and we're looking for a breakout, and then we're looking for pullbacks. And you can trade these in the different, what I call support and resistance zones. Now, had you taken that advice and looked for the right indicators and got in at the bottom and got out somewhere around the top, you'd have made about 100% over a very short period of time. That's the power of utilizing these kinds of reports. Now, of course, one of the things, though, is that you need to look at is education and training, because you can really maximize these reports if you've got foundational courses under you. I highly recommend that you start off with the self-paced foundational course. You can also take it live as well, depending on the timing. And then once you've completed that course, you'll have a good foundation. And from there, I highly recommend that you subscribe to the Ultimate Trading course. This course is probably the most detailed and complete course that I have ever seen in the trading space. In fact, I've tried other courses in the past, probably paid 3 times as much and got 1/3 the information. This course is incredible. And with that, you also learn how to use it. You learn how to use custom indicators, and that will help tell you what happens. For example, what we were looking for here on indicators, if I just grab my little arrow here, we were looking for pivot bottoms with a trigger wave, which is right here. So that would have been a good entry point. Then we were looking for pivot tops and exits. And so we got an exit point right here. I'll grab this again. And at the same time, we also had it break over this line here, and it broke back right about here. So it's amazing how you can use these indicators along with these moving averages as to extra confluence to know when to get in and when to get out of the market. So that's why that course is so invaluable. You really get to see a whole different picture, and you see what's going on in the marketplace. So with that, I'd like to also mention too that for other people that just want to dip their toe in the water and try some trading, this new bot, HODL Indicator bot, is just an amazing tool. And it's very inexpensive. You're only looking at $31 a month. Plus, you can actually try it out for 7 days for free by simply just adding the words HODL7 in the coupon code in the checkout area. This tool is amazing, and it is extremely accurate. Now, is it 100%? No, no tool is, but it is extremely accurate for what we want to do. I like to use it in a little longer time frames. And for example, these are 4-hour candles that we have up on the screen. And so what we're looking for is tops of momentum, which is this black pivot, and bottom of momentums. And we're looking for those as we go through the cycles. So what I'm looking for here is I'm looking for bottoms, but I want to see some confluence. So I wait until I see a buy tag show up. Then that gives me a higher probability that this is a reverse of trend. Now you'll notice over at the front, this is a blue pivot top and a sell tag. Now that tells me that's a high probability we're still going to continue down. However, this is not confirmed. So when you enter a trade, these will be in blue. So just to let you know that. So in order to protect your capital, this is what I do. I wait for the buy tag, and I would enter the market probably right about there. But to protect my capital, I would then set a stop loss somewhere down here, just below the pivot bottom, because we don't know what the market's going to do. It could go up and then come back down and hit the stop loss. So that's the reason why I set that, to protect my capital. So if in this situation, I am risking basically about 5% of my investment. So if I had $1,000 on that, I'm risking maybe $50. And then I simply watch and monitor the market. Now, as the market improves, I then move my stop loss from here. I start moving it up, okay? Because I want to protect my capital. And then if it gets up into the really tall zone, that's when I might move my stop loss up at this point where I've got a risk-free trade going on. And it almost got wicked out here, but it continued on, and then it did get wicked out here. So in this case, had we gotten a temporary signal, I probably would have got out earlier. But had I not had the stop loss there, if I just would have been less aggressive, and this is what you learn through trading, when to be aggressive, when not to be. If you start seeing these big wicks, you know that you don't want to be too aggressive with your stop losses because you'll get wicked out. But had I not been aggressive on this situation, we would have gotten out somewhere in this neighborhood, and I would have locked in a nice 5% profit. And that's kind of how I play this tool. So here we are again. This has been the same scenario. It broke out again, so I would have entered. And I would have set my stop loss. And I would have traded this all the way up, and I would have got out somewhere in this zone. And in that situation, I would have ended up with a profit of about 8%, whereas I risked about 4%. So that's about a 2-to-1 risk reward ratio. And that's a really good ratio to be working with. So this tool can be utilized on its own, but more importantly, when you start using it with the other training and education, you get extra confluence. For example, there was that bottom blue green pivot. There was the black pivot. There was a buy tag. There was a sell. All of these work in confluence with each other. So that's the power of utilizing all of the different training and education that we have here. So with that, I'd like to thank you for listening to me this afternoon, and hopefully I'll get you to sign up and we'll see you on the other side. So with that, I'd like to thank you again and have a great